Golfers will often tell you that club selection is critical in knocking down your handicap. Picking the right club for the right occasion will make light work of any shot. At least that's the theory. For me, the BMW M440i Gran Coupe is like the trusty hybrid in your bag. Fit for any occasion, not shy on power, and always dependable. Let's take a closer look.
The 4 Series Gran Coupe range has received a major refresh with slightly larger proportions than before, new technology and a healthy increase in price to match. As such, the range now opens at $75,900 before on-road costs, moving as high as $118,900 for the flagship M440i xDrive driven here. Sitting one rung below dedicated M3 and M4 performance models, the M440i rides standard on 19-inch M alloy wheels and is fitted with BMW laser lights, an electric glass roof and distinctive silver styling touches, including on the kidney grille, mirror caps and rectangular exhaust outlets.
The M440i inherits the latest incarnation of BMW's twin-scroll turbocharged 3-litre inline 6. Now power is up 45 kilowatts on the predecessor, while torque is up 50 Newton meters on a band between 1900 and 5000 RPM. The world might be changing, but Beamer's inline 6 for me is as relevant as ever.
The M440i now shuffles drive to all 4 wheels via an 8-speed torque converter transmission. Crucially, it also gets an M Sport differential as standard.
Now I'm in a fortunate position to drive dozens of different press cars every year, and I have to say the M440i has the best seating position in recent memory. You're low slung inside the cabin, you're perfectly accessed to all the key controls, you've got comfortable seats and a really nice clean line of sight to the front and rear. It sounds small, but when you jump inside this car it makes complete sense, and it reminds you that you're in something that is focused around the driver.
The cabin is both Teutonic and cosseting, with the slightly larger exterior proportions liberating marginally more interior space than before. A 10.25-inch centre screen pairs with a separate 12.3-inch display in the instrument cluster, with touch, voice and button functionality for the former. The M440i ticks all the important boxes where infotainment is concerned. And similarly, it gets full marks for safety, covering all 8 of our key requisites. Rear seat occupants have suitable proportions for a couple of adults, with separate air vents, a flip-down centre armrest and 2 additional USB-C ports. There's also ample provision for little ones, with ISOFIX attachment points on the outbound pews. Meanwhile, that handy lift-back design ensures easy access to the 470-litre boot area.
First impressions in the BMW M440i. Geez, it's refreshing to jump in something that feels so inherently sporty and focused on the driver. I spoke before about the seating position, but I'll touch on it again. You really just feel like you're immediately cultivating feel and confidence inside this car, especially once you're up and moving. Big, thick steering wheel, great access to all the controls, and as an extension of that, everything is really nicely modulated, from the feel of the steering, the brake pedal, the accelerator, even the gearbox upon taking off. Everything has been geared around being as efficient and as precise as possible, and it really does conspire to make a great driver's car, even when you're driving in urban environments.
The 3-litre inline 6 plies its power reliably, thanks to all-wheel drive grip and staggered Pirelli P0 rubber, effectively allowing the M440i to cover a broad cross-section of driving.
A lot of people have rightly described this car as, I guess, a more comfortable M3, and it does bode that way on the road. 285 kilowatts, 500 Newton meters, a great exhaust note, and that 4.7 second 0 to 100 time. But more than that, it is a car that comfortably covers daily conveyance. And when I say that, I mean it just does everything so effortlessly. The way it builds speed to a round town passage, the way you can overtake things with little struggle at all, and just the way that it just feels so tied down on the road through corners and different obstacles alike. It is a supremely comfortable, supremely compliant car, and has all of that inherent performance without huge compromises in everyday comfort. That's what I really like about it. You do feel connected to the road in the BMW M440i, so yes, there's a little bit more road noise than some people may like. There's the occasional thud over obstacles, but never any crashing, never any sort of real detriment to the overall refinement of this car. The one exception to this test example is a little bit of creaking inside the cabin.
On faster country roads, the M440i feels even more polished, with absolute composure at speed and a well-honed stability control suite to match.
Turn on sport mode and immediately you get a little bit of that inline 6 rasp, you get a little bit more aggression from the engine mapping, the gearbox, the steering and everything else. On everyday roads, this car just feels excellent in its execution. It hunkers down through corners, and despite being bigger and weightier than before, it feels light in person. It has this real lightness to the tuning of all its controls and all of its behaviour. It really does instill confidence. If anything, the gearbox probably isn't quite as sharp as some keen drivers might like. They may actually prefer a dual clutch unit, but I think for the comfort and the low speed amenity you get with the torque converted transmission, it's a pretty easy compromise to make.
Amid the onslaught of EVs, there is something hugely nostalgic and mechanical about the M440i. It perfectly encapsulates the traditional strengths of BMW's internal combustion past, but with the appropriate digital elements to match. The M440i is backed by a 3-year unlimited kilometre warranty in Australia, which is slightly down against key rivals. It can be purchased with a 5-year servicing pack up front.
The SUV obsession might be in full swing, but in all honesty, the BMW M440i Gran Coupe is a refreshing change from the high-riding crowd. Many have rightfully described this as a budget-priced and more rounded BMW M3, but even then, I really don't think it does this car justice.